There are a few cars from movies, especially action movies, that are hyped up as the Aston Martin DB5. Almost every fan of the James Bond franchise grew up wanting to own one. It's definitely one of the cars I would love to have in my garage, and along with the DB5, James Bond has driven some sweet rides over the 25 official movies, from sporty little cars to supercars that are filled to the brim with gadgets. In the first movie, Dr. No, which was released in 1962, the first car driven by Bond was a Chevrolet Bel Air convertible. This is probably one of the most recognizable American vehicles of all time. Chevy described the car as sweet, smooth, and sassy. Even Quagmire from Family Guy had a 1957 Chevy Bel Air convertible. Fun fact though, the close-up of the dashboard we see in the movie is not from a Chevy, but from a 1957 Ford Fairlane. How much do you think it will cost to own one today? Well, a very clean Chevy sold at auction for $81,000 in 2023. The Chevy isn't Bond's official first car. The honor goes to a beautiful little sky blue 1961 Sunbeam Alpine he rented in Jamaica. The car had a 1.6-liter 4-cylinder engine and produced around 80 horsepower. The Alpine is a truly beautiful car. It's not every day you see a car as pretty as this. The design still holds up till today, and at a time when most small roadsters had side curtains, the Alpine was one of the first sports cars that had roll-up windows. It also had some racing success. The Alpine won the Thermal Index of Efficiency at the 1961 24 Hours of Le Mans. This meant that the car was very fuel efficient and could maintain performance over the full 24-hour race without breaking down or needing major repairs. In the movie though, the car had no cool gadgets, probably because it was a rental, but it was still a pretty cool convertible. In the next movie, we catch a glimpse of Bond with a classic 1938 Bentley Mark IV. In the novels, the Bentley was Bond's pride and joy. The car was equipped with only a car phone. Q hadn't yet stuffed it with gadgets. These early cars were cool for their time, but Bond was just warming up. Soon, the Aston Martins would roar in and steal the show. The Aston Martin DB5 first hit the screen in Goldfinger, and it's pretty much the most iconic Bond car ever. They actually built 4 DB5s for Goldfinger. 2 were for the stunts and 2 were for publicity. This was also the first Bond car that was filled to the brim with gadgets. It had twin Browning 303 machine guns behind the front lights, revolving license plates, a smoke screen, tire slashes, an oil slick dispenser, bulletproof windows, and even a hidden champagne cooler for when Bond wanted to celebrate a successful mission or woo the ladies. You know, he's a ladies' man. Oh, and let's not forget the coolest feature of the car, the ejector seat. In short, the DB5 had everything but a kitchen sink, and it set the standard for what it meant to be a Bond car. In the early movies, Bond and the DB5 were basically an inseparable duo. The same tricked-out Aston returned in Thunderball. This time, it even had rear-mounted water cannons. Fans absolutely loved the car. Fun fact, the DB5 has shown up in 8 different Bond films over the decades, more than any other car. Daniel Craig's Bond even brought the DB5 out of retirement. It made a small appearance in Casino Royale. The car was owned by a gambling villain, but Bond acquired it during a poker game. The car had no gadgets in this movie, but it made a glorious return in Skyfall and No Time to Die with the original machine guns. Here's a real-life twist. One of the original DB5s from Goldfinger was stolen from a Florida airport hangar in 1997. It basically vanished like how a top-secret spy car might. For 25 years, the fate of the car was a mystery, but it was finally found in 2021 hidden in the Middle East. Can you imagine some rich villain wannabe hiding Bond's car in an underground lair? Sounds like something straight out of a 007 plot. Another DB5 from the film also sold at auction for an eye-watering $4.6 million in 2010. That's how legendary the DB5 is. Collectors will pay mega money just to own a piece of 007 history. Of course, Bond's love affair with Aston Martin didn't stop at the DB5. When George Lazenby took over as Bond, he got a new model, the sleek Aston Martin DBS. It had a different look from the classic DB5, more 60s modern. This Aston didn't have a lot of gadgets though. The DBS carried a telescopic rifle in the glove box and not much else. A fun fact about the DBS is that it's in this car we first see Bond shed a tear for a loved one, which is something we don't see happen very often from 007. The Aston Martin DBS did not have a bulletproof glass and Bond's new bride was tragically shot in the car. Fast forward to Daniel Craig's era and Bond drives the ferocious Aston Martin DBS V12. This is essentially a modern supercar. No over-the-top gadgets in this car, but it did have a hidden compartment for his pistol and an emergency medical kit with a defibrillator that saved Bond's life in Casino Royale. A fun fact about the DBS V12 is that it performed a world record 7-roll barrel crash in Casino Royale. The special effects team actually put a cannon behind the driver's seat to get the car to make those insane flips. Craig's DBS got absolutely wrecked, but he got a fresh one in the next film because Aston Martin, of course, loves the publicity. Timothy Dalton also got an Aston Martin, but this time it was a muscular Aston Martin V8 Vantage. This is a proper British brute of a car. It's basically a rocket ship in disguise. The car started as a convertible Volante, but when Bond needed it to drive through snowy Slovakia, Q winterized the car into a hardtop coupe and loaded it with gadgets. We are talking twin missiles behind the headlights, lasers to cut other cars in half, retractable tire spikes, a heads-up display and even a built-in rocket engine for extra oomph. With a 5.3-litre V8 under the hood, the Vantage could really move. It's one of Bond's most underrated cars. That same Aston V8 Vantage reappears decades later in No Time to Die when Craig's Bond pulls it out of storage. It even had the same 1980s license plates. When Pierce Brosnan stepped into 007's shoes in the 90s, the Aston Martin was briefly swapped out for other cars. But Brosnan still got one grand outing in an Aston Martin in the movie Die Another Day. This time, it was the V12 Vanquish. This beast of a car had a V12 engine and 460 plus horsepower. And of course, Q couldn't resist cramming it with the most over-the-top tech ever. This was the invisible car. It had an adaptive camouflage that could make it cloak. The car had missiles, machine guns, and even an ejector seat. I really dug this car. It was ridiculously fun. The Vanquish was the first Bond car to be heavily featured in video games. It appeared in Night Fire, Everything or Nothing, and 007 legends. Daniel Craig's Bond also had one of the sleekest cars ever shown on the TV screen, his one-of-a-kind Aston Martin DB5. This car model was exclusively made for the film. In fact, only 10 were built for real. The car was a stunner. It was modern and sleek and had some nice toys too. It had flamethrowers out the back, machine guns and an ejector seat with a parachute. But of course, in Bond's fashion, he destroyed the car. He drowned the car in the Tiber River. The car was short-lived, but it was a gorgeous ride while it lasted. We also got a glimpse of the ultra-modern Aston Martin Valhalla supercar in Q's lab in no time to die. The new 00 agent Nomi also drives a 2020 Aston Martin DBS Superleggera at 1.2. MI6 has a serious Aston Martin contract. But I am pretty sure that for Bond himself, his heart still lies with the classics. He sticks to the DB5 and the V8. Now, Bond doesn't always drive Astons. In the 1970s, Roger Moore proved that with style. He drives the Lotus Esprit S1 and The Spy Who Loved Me. This may even be the second most legendary car after the DB5. This was not just a car. It transforms into a freaking submarine. Bond could also fire missiles from the car to take out helicopters. The real Lotus was sleek and wedge-shaped. It was designed by Italian legend Giorgetto Giugiaro. I hope I pronounced that right. And it made the car look futuristic even before it went submersible. The best part is that it wasn't just camera tricks. They built a functional submarine car prop for the underwater scenes. It was nicknamed Wet Nelly, a cheeky nod to an earlier mini helicopter called Little Nelly. It wasn't a practical car though. It was basically a drivable wet submarine with a Lotus shell. The sub required a crew of 2 to operate, and they even had to wear full scuba gear inside the vehicle to pilot it. The 4 electric motors in the vehicle also allowed for forward motion only. Now here's the interesting part. After filming, the submarine car was stored away and forgotten in a storage unit until the lease ran out. A couple randomly bought the storage unit for like $100, only to discover the car in there. The couple didn't even have a clue of what they stumbled upon. They initially planned to fix the car's roof and do some minor work. But on their way home with the car, truckers on the road started radioing them, letting them know they had something very valuable, a James Bond car. Upon hearing this, the husband rented the movie and realized they just bought a treasure for $100. The car later ended up at auction in 2013 and was sold for $997,000. And guess who bought it? Elon Musk. The Lotus made another appearance in For Your Eyes Only. This time, it was the newer Lotus Esprit Turbo. Bond got it in Spain, and Q, anticipating the usual trouble, installed a burglar protection system. Sure enough, when bad guys tried to break into the parked Lotus, the whole car self-destructs in a massive explosion. Later in the film though, Bond gets another Lotus Esprit Turbo, a twin to the first, and uses it in the snowy Italian Alps. No submarine tricks this time, but it's still a gorgeous ride. During the 90s, when Pierce Brosnan took over, Bond's longtime partner Aston Martin took a backseat. Aside from that DB5 nostalgia cameo in GoldenEye. Instead, 007 for a short while became a BMW man. In GoldenEye, his official new ride from Q is a BMW Z3 Roadster. The Z3 was a shiny blue two-seater and wasn't loaded with visible gadgets. In fact, the Z3's screen time was so brief you might have missed it. It appeared for less than 2 minutes in the movie. The next BMW is the 750iL that appears in Tomorrow Never Dies. The big silver luxury sedan didn't scream spy car at first glance, but trust Cube to outfit the car with all the gadgets. It had tear gas, self-sealing tires, hidden rockets, caltrops, and most impressively, a remote control. Bond actually drives this car with his Ericsson cell phone, and this was way before smartphones. By the word is not enough, Bond got an upgrade to the sleek BMW Z8 Roadster. Now, this one looked like a proper spy car. It had a modern styling and a roaring V8 engine. Q Branch even installed surface-to-air missiles in the Z8's side vents, which Bond uses once to take down a helicopter. Unfortunately, a second chopper sneaks up and cuts the BMW in half with a huge dangling saw blade. The Z8's life was short but memorable. After that, Brosnan's partnership with BMW ended, as did his tenure not long after. But he went out in style, returning to Aston Martin with the Vanquish in 2002. Still, the BMW era gave us a few very fun moments and showed that Bond isn't married to any one brand. He will drive whatever gets the job done or whatever Q hands him. The official Bond cars are great, but sometimes 007 just grabs whatever is available. This one-off rides deserves a toast as well. In Diamonds Are Forever, Sean Connery drove his leading lady's Ford Mustang Mach-1 in Las Vegas. The result was one of the wildest downtown Vegas car chases. Bond even tilts the Mustang onto two wheels to slip through a tiny alley gap. Fun fact though, the stunt had a continuity mistake. The car enters on its right wheels and somehow exits on its left. They tried covering it with a cheeky editing cut inside a mock-up alley, but it's still a famous little blooper. And the man with the golden gun, he hijacks a red AMC Hornet X hatchback to chase after Scaramanga. During the chase, he executes a perfect 360-degree jump in mid-air over a broken bridge. The craziest part is that this stunt was done for real in one take. It was one of the most complex car stunts ever filmed up to that time. The stunt team used computer modeling from Cornell Aeronautical Labs to calculate the jump physics beforehand. I mentioned earlier that Bond's Lotus Esprit Turbo blew up in For Your Eyes Only. Before he got another one, he used his girlfriend's tiny yellow Citroën 2CV in a car chase. This car was basically an adorable tin can with a lawnmower engine. The car still got the job done. Bond is so skilled that he can turn a sleepy turtle into a Ferrari. One time, the car even rolled onto its side, and with the help of bystanders, they got the car back up. Audiences loved the car so much that Citroën released a special 007 edition after the film. They painted it yellow with 007 logos and fake bullet hole stickers. So there you have it. We just had a grand tour of James Bond's garage through the years. Bond's cars are as much a character in the films as Bond himself. They've got style, some tricks up their sleeves, and they often have a story that goes beyond the movies. So which Bond car is your favorite? Leave your answer in the comment section. Also like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until my next video, stay cool, stay fresh, keep living the good life.